Welcome to Twin Talk. This is Joy, and I'm here with my sister Angie. So, Angie, what's been new with you lately?
Well, kind of been in the decluttering mode, and I have you to thank for that.
Why do you have me to thank for that? I was thinking I had you to thank for that.
Well, I mean, you know me, I'm like the ultimate declutterer. You know, people. I mean, I'm in a constant mode of decluttering, but since you've been off work this summer, you know, since you get the summers off, since you're a teacher, you've been sending me all these wonderful videos. At like 10:30 at night, a video will pop up on my email. I'm like, what's Joy doing? Or it'll be like 11 o'clock at night. I can tell you're sitting there watching decluttering videos, and then you just email them to me. This is a good one, Angie. Hey, watch this one. And they are. They're all really
cool. Good. Actually, Angie's the one that I want to thank because for the last several years, you've been decluttering your house.
Yeah.
And once she started decluttering, I started looking around my house. And when you live in a house that's under 1,000 square feet, you cannot be a pack rat. You can't have multiple things.
That is so true.
And so now, where I used to binge on Netflix or something, I binge on decluttering videos on YouTube. And
it's actually addictive. When you said
you
binge on those,
yes.
You just reminded me, it really is addictive. Once you get started,
yes,
you just want to keep doing it.
And once you start decluttering, you just want to get rid of more and more and more. Yeah. I don't ever want to be what you call a minimalist. I like to have stuff around me, but not so much stuff that I'm stressed by it.
Right. I just want things around me that I love or are beautiful or bring serenity.
Yes.
You know, we have enough chaos in the world, so why do you want your home to be chaotic?
Exactly. And I ran across this YouTube channel, and it's called the Minimalist Mom, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And her name's Diane.
Is this the one that has the identical twin?
And she has an identical twin.
Yeah, no, she was over the
top.
Wait,
is the twin Diane or is she Diane?
I don't know. I just know that her house, OMG.
Hey, I have learned so much from her, though.
Oh, she's good.
She's good, but this is where the over the top, where she doesn't want flat surfaces on her house. So when her twin sister came over, she literally didn't have anywhere to put her iced tea.
She literally, like when you look in her living room, it's a couch, a chair. She didn't have a coffee table. Yeah, she may have had a coffee table.
She had a coffee table, a couch, and a chair is all I remember.
Yeah, like her sister was there doing a video with her drinking a glass of water and did not have anywhere to put her glass.
Yeah, that's pretty extreme.
I feel like she was extreme. Yeah.
But I will say, if you ever listen to us, Minimalist Mom, it's cool. Number one, they're identical twins like we are. Mm-hmm. It seems like they're just a little bit younger than we are. I've learned a lot, and I love, love, love that her sister always can apply scripture to the principles they're talking about.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was pretty cool,
I love that. So anyway, shout out to them. But I love this decluttering process. I already feel like my house it's freeing up space, and it's already a little less stressful.
And I just have to throw this in. We're sitting in my mother's back bedroom. You know what I'm going to say.
Yes.
We're sitting in our mother's back bedroom.
Speaking of decluttering.
And we are surrounded by clutter. And right now, just some examples. Let's see, there's a pile of small picture frames, probably holds like the little 3x5 photos. There's probably 10 of those. There's these, what do you call those? They're like borders that you put photos in. I don't even know what you do with them. It looks like there's about 20 of those.
She has a bunch of
picture frames everywhere.
Well, in her defense, I think this is kind of like her storage room.
Yeah, this is her room that I'm going to get to that and go through it later.
Yes.
I think a lot of it.
So I understand, and she has, flowers and
I see lots of
floral
wreaths,
arrangements.
For graves, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. More picture frames on the bed. Looks like there's about 20 on the bed. Mm-hmm. There's a bassinet.
I understand this is her storage room. Mm-hmm. My issue I have is like some of these picture frames are ancient. To me, it looks like they're in bad shape.
Joy. I'm counting like 50 picture frames. And she has 1,000 pictures in her house framed already. Mm-hmm. So who needs that many picture frames? Well, I guess she does. I guess I need a quick.
So it is ironic that we are talking about decluttering our houses, and we're sitting in a room that is. It's not horrible. She's not a hoarder.
It's not a hoarder.
But it does have stuff all around us.
Right. She's not hoarder mode. She hasn't come to that point.
Okay. So anyway, we're in decluttering mode, and that's and then school starts back for me in a couple of weeks, so I've got to get on the ball because I'm not even halfway there. So
you can do it.
I can do it.
You can do it. I'll help you.
Okay, I can't believe it, but this is episode number 40, and we are
Wow.
going to talk about a book called The Companion.
Oh, and did you do on Buzzsprout that every so often they give you like little medals? It's for accomplishments, and when we
Okay.
hit 50 episodes, we get another. It's like a little medal.
Ooh,
So
we can
10 more we'll
advertise it on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're only 10 episodes away from getting our next. They're called achievements. I'm sorry.
We should
next
totally
achievement.
celebrate that because we are 50 years old.
Oh.
And we're going to hit our 50th episode. 50-50.
Yes.
Okay, so the book we're talking about today is called The Companion by Katie Alender, and it was released in August of 2020. So I'm proud of us.
Yes.
We like to do books.
We're so modern.
We're so modern. We're actually been doing some books that are recent that maybe people haven't even read yet and maybe want to read. I found this summary on Goodreads, but I could not find the author's name so I could give that person credit for the summary I'm about to read.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry if you are the Goodreads author that wrote this summary. I really did try to find your name. The other orphans say Margot is lucky to survive the horrible accident that killed her family. Lucky to have her own room because she wakes up screaming every night. And finally, lucky to be chosen by a prestigious family to live at their remote country estate. But it wasn't luck that made the Suttons rescue Margot from her bleak existence at the group home. Margot was handpicked to be a companion, the title, to their silent, mysterious daughter, Agatha. At first, helping with Agatha and getting to know her handsome older brother seems much better than the group home. But soon the isolated, gothic house begins playing tricks on Margot's mind, making her question everything she believes about the Suttons and herself. Margot's bad dreams may have stopped when she came to live with Agatha, but the real nightmare has just begun.
I'm impressed with all the reading.
I am too.
Yeah.
No,
you
not
sounds
really.
like you practiced that.
I didn't.
Wow.
But I just, wanted to add a little flair, a little drama.
I like that.
So my first question to you, the cover art for the book. Now, this was an audiobook. Neither of us actually read it. We listened to it. What did you think about the cover art? And of course, if our listeners were not familiar, it's a picture of a silver spoon and it's full of needles.
Okay, I'm really glad you asked that because the cover art was very intriguing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that you just mentioned silver spoon. I was thinking of it, okay, it's a spoon with needles on it.
Right.
But the fact that you said silver spoon, okay, to me, that's really significant because what we're going to talk about shortly is that, you just mentioned she goes to a family who's very wealthy.
Yes.
And the old saying is, you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Okay, so I think that's very symbolic.
Oh, see, I didn't even pick up on that.
Well,
but you're right. It wasn't a wooden spoon, it was a silver spoon, and you're right. Indicative of possibly.
I think it's indicative of
a wealthy
family,
which they are.
So, okay, and the other thought I had on the spoon was when I think of a spoon, I think of food and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you think of a spoon, I almost picture like a mother feeding her baby with a
Yeah.
spoon. So a spoon to me represents comfort and food and just security.
Mm-hmm.
But then you've got these needles on top of the spoon,
Yes.
and I think, needles. Well, who likes needles? Nobody.
Right.
Okay, they're unpleasant.
And these are like not syringes, like needles you would get a shot. They're like they look like the little sewing
Like
pins,
sewing needles, yeah.
like little sewing pin needles.
But I don't know.
But it's the same connotation, something
Yeah.
sharp and pointy on something that's, like you said, just be comforting.
But you and I have the inside scoop, so we know that they could also represent needles from syringes.
Yeah, and in this case, I think the spoon represents what do you take medicine with.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and we want to be careful of spoilers here.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I realize maybe the spoon represented what you take medicine with.
It could, yeah. But I will say this: whoever came up with the cover art, I thought was very clever. And once if you actually decide to read the book, you'll understand.
Yeah, I was immediately intrigued because I'm like, what in the world? It's a silver spoon with these little sewing needles on it, or little, I wish I was a seamstress. I don't know the name of the actual, but anyway.
Like straight pins almost?
Yeah, like little straight pins or something. Anyway, so right off the bat, you're like, what's up with this? What are we doing with this spoon and these needles? So we have this girl named Margot, and it's a very tragic story. She's with her family. She's a teenager. I can't remember now. And once again, it's been a while since I've read the book, but the van ended up and was it a lake or a pond?
The last thing she remembered was her mom saying, "What's that in the road?" Or like, "Watch out, what's that?" There was something in the road, and I think her dad veered to miss whatever it was.
Okay.
And their car overturned in some type of channel that had water in it.
Okay. And the van's upside down. And everyone drowns. It's like her brother, her father, and her mother. Did she have a sister?
She had a sister. I can't remember if she had a...
I know, this is where my memory's horrible. It's only been like a month since I've read the book, but I've read so many books, they all start to kind of, blend together.
I think she may have had a brother and a sister, but regardless, it was tragic.
It was tragic because everybody drowned, but she was able to escape.
Right.
And so that's where the irony this is kind of where it gets kind of interesting. So they have no... Which I find it hard to believe she has no relatives that can take her in. But apparently she has no relatives whatsoever on the whole face of the earth that can take her in.
Her mom and dad were only children. Her grandparents were dead. And then she tried to live with some friends, and it just didn't work out.
Right.
So
this family, supposedly, she gets an offer from a very wealthy family. They have tracked her down, and they want to take her in because supposedly the father of this very wealthy family... Margot's dad and they were they college roommates or was it high school?
I can't remember, but supposedly Margot's dad had saved this man's life
from drowning.
And he felt like he owed him something.
Yes,
by taking his daughter, and he felt like he was repaying that debt.
Yes, he was repaying the debt because his life. So isn't that? And it didn't even hit me. Sometimes the most obvious things just escape me, but her dad had saved this guy from drowning, and he ended up drowning.
Good point.
And so now this guy is going to take the daughter in, but there's a catch. So you want to explain what the catch is? She gets to this big, huge mansion. This is a super wealthy family. They're going to take her in, and you're with a new daughter, and we're going to give you food and clothes and
pay for your
college, but there is a catch. So what was the catch?
Hey, this kind of reminds me of Little White Lies. Remember?
You're right.
I'll pay for college if you'll come live with me. Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, the catch is. Oh, by the way, we have a daughter who's about your age, and she's beautiful. But she's comatose. She doesn't speak. She doesn't really communicate.
And we keep her in a nursery.
And
she's 16 years old, and she just likes to sit and stare out the window all day.
She sits and stares out the window, and I dress her every day, and I brush her hair, and we pretend like she does her homework every day, but she's really just staring out the window with a blank notebook in front of her.
And we think it was some sort of virus that she caught.
Yeah.
What a virus.
It's all really strange.
I will say when they told her it was a virus, didn't they say they thought it could have been a virus she contracted somewhere?
Yeah, they had someone in the family that had died mysteriously, quote, air quotes, and they think that she contracted the same thing that killed the mom's sister or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, and what did you think that her name was Agatha, the teenage daughter that's kind of comatose?
I just old families, especially very wealthy families that are very well established. In my opinion, they tend to take names from ancestors and relatives because it's an old-fashioned name.
I thought it might have been a nod to Agatha Christie.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't looked this up. I don't know anything about this author, but I thought, wouldn't that be cool if she's a big Agatha Christie fan? Because this is like a mystery, suspense, gothic type novel.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Who knows? Okay, so the dad, what'd you think about the dad?
The dad, okay, he was pretty normal. Of the whole lot, I guess if you had to compare the mom and the dad, he was the normal one.
Yeah, he seemed very normal.
I also think he was totally oblivious.
Yes.
I don't think he was super happy being there, and so he was always away on business.
He's a lawyer. Working. He's always working. Yeah, I almost felt like he was just trying to avoid all the pain and complications of their family. He just escaped by work was his escape.
Yeah, and if you think about it, if this was a true life story and you had a once vivacious, beautiful daughter who's now just sitting comatose, looking out a window, doing nothing all day but staring into the garden.
Yeah,
it would be hard to sit around and watch that.
It'd be very hard. And of course, the key character we're going to find out is Laura Sutton, the mother. And did you like her character?
No.
At first, I kind of did. I thought, well, she's prim and proper, but I mean, she's bending over backwards. She's jumping through hoops to make Margot feel at home. She wants her to know, we want you to be part of our family.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Okay, in the beginning, yes, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I tried to like her.
Yeah.
I should say that. I did try to like her.
Okay. She's very prim and proper and has super strict rules. Like, she doesn't let Margot have a cell phone. Well, hello. And no spoiler alerts here, but some of the stuff, that was a pretty big tip-off. You know, what's going to happen in the end? Oh, she doesn't have a cell phone. Gee, I wonder if that's going to fix something, you know.
Yeah.
And then
and they didn't have internet service out there
no
anyway.
Internet.
So.
And this is cool. Now, the mom's defense of it was, you know, people don't live in the present. People don't have relationships. They don't connect. We want to connect. We want to have a real family. All her reasons were great, and I agree. But yeah, no internet service, no cell phone. Gee, I wonder if that will come into play later. But
I'm just curious. Okay, so, you know, I knew we were going to be discussing Laura. So some of the things that came to my mind was, and you've already said a few of these, was very rich, super uptight. She dressed and groomed herself meticulously, ultra proper, and I called her Miss Manners. But didn't you think it was interesting how she went from this super perfect mother to, as the story progressed, you could see her temper coming out and how she became more domineering as the story.
She definitely gradually started to unravel.
She started becoming, her true colors started coming out, and you could see some of her snobbery.
I feel like we're doing spoiler alerts here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, no, you're right. I did kind of give a little bit too much information there. Let me ask you a question, though.
Okay.
Do you think people like Laura, what we just described, the super rich, the super uptight, just dressed so that they're picture perfect on the outside, but do you think people like that really exist today?
I do. Just because some of the movies I've seen, like, I know movies are all true, everything is true, but
I don't think we would have so many people portrayed that way if there weren't people out there who were really
I think
like
there
that.
are people who are they want their lives to look perfect, especially in the ultra rich. They want everybody to think their lives are perfect. They take the perfect vacation. They have the perfect home. They have the perfect car. But obviously nobody's perfect. But I think of that lady, The Devil Wears Prada, is actually based on, I don't know if it was Elle or Cosmopolitan, is one of those big time magazine issues. And that's, they say, who that movie's really based on. And they say she really was similar to the lady in that movie, to Meryl Streep.
Right.
Yeah, I think these people exist for sure.
Yeah, I do too.
And then there's a brother, there's a love interest. There's a brother who's away at the prep school or wherever, and his name's Barrett, and he comes home, and of course he's suspicious of Agatha right away. Not Agatha.
Sister,
I'm sorry, not Agatha. Margot. But one cool thing about Barrett, and I thought that made him unique, is he could play the piano.
Hey, can I just say right here for the record, I love a man who can play the piano.
Yes.
I love you, Keith Urban.
Oh, I forgot Keith can play the piano.
That's one reason I love Keith Urban, because he can play the piano.
Yes, he can. I always forget that. I thought that was cool. I will say, out of all the characters written, I just thought Barrett was one of the most well written. Because he seemed the most realistic. Because not that most teenage boys can play the piano like Beethoven or whatever, but you know, if you're super wealthy and you've had lessons your whole life, and he was passionate about it and he practiced all the time.
Most teenage boys, I would have said, oh, there's no way that's what he wants to do with his life is play the piano. But when you are super wealthy, that is part of your life a lot of times is the things that they do to enrich your life, and a lot of it is learning to play instruments.
Right.
And things like
it's not like you're out there going, oh, I got to find a job as an insurance broker or something. They're just like, they pick these professions. They can do whatever they want half the time because they have the money.
Yep.
But I like that even though his parents weren't ideal in many ways, he still loved them and defended them. Like when Margot would make accusations or whatever, he didn't immediately believe Margot. He would defend his family. I thought that's what a true a person in true life would do. They're not going to believe this stranger when they start throwing around accusations. They're going, if they truly love their family, they're going to defend their family. I just thought he seemed realistic. Yeah. Margot seemed pretty realistic. The mom was kind of out there. The dad seemed pretty realistic.
Yeah.
And of course, let's talk about the house as a character. Every Gothic novel has to have the big creepy house. And so one thing that was interesting to me, she's told to stay out of, what's it called?
The North Wing.
The North Wing. And of course, once you're told to stay away from somewhere, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to explore it.
Yeah. Did you have trouble visualizing the house?
I actually kind of did. I know in many of the books we've discussed, like The Widow's House, I could picture that really well, but this one I did have a little trouble visualizing the house.
Yeah, and I kept just having to remind myself, okay, this house is enormous.
Yes.
It's huge. And I got to tell you, what I thought the author did a really good job of.
Okay, and that's what my next question was. What are the strengths and weaknesses? So let's go for it. What did you think the strengths were?
Okay, well, so I used to always think, oh, it would be so cool to live in a great big old mansion like that, or whatever you want to call it. But the way she described it, like, there would be wings that were just completely sealed off, and there were rooms that were outdated, and like maybe the water faucets were old timey, and like there was cobwebs, and it just hit me. That's what it would really be like, especially when you don't have people coming to visit very often. It's not like Downton Abbey where they're using all the rooms. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it made me realize, no, I don't think I would want to live in a house like that.
Because it's not necessarily, you're going to have dust and cobwebs and dirt. It's going to be stuffy, and it's not, if the rooms are closed up, it's not like you have this fresh air. Yeah, I think those are things we don't really think about when we think, ooh, I want to live in a big Gothic mansion.
And it was interesting, and you mentioned this earlier, so Agatha's room originally was like a really posh, really cool vibe room for a teenage girl. But they moved her once she got into this state into the nursery. So what do you think the significance of that was? Why was she living in the nursery?
Unless the mother just saw her as an infant again. I don't know. See, I have another thought, but I can't really say it without giving away the spoiler.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say it, but I agree. To me, the strengths were, it had my interest from the get-go. This is a very interesting background. You've got an orphan whose whole family drown. And then the guy who saves her dad had saved him from drowning. She goes to live in the big, huge Gothic manor. Part of it is off limits. And then, of course, you've got this comatose daughter. She's not really comatose. She's not in a coma. She's awake. But basically, she just sits and stares out the window all day.
It's like she's there in body, but not in mind or spirit. Yeah.
And so it's very intriguing. The plot was very intriguing, very original, and it had me hooked. Yeah, I wanted to know, why is that part of the house off limits? What's up with this teenage girl who sits and stares out the window all day? It did. It hooked me, and it made me want to keep reading. The author did a great job with setting and with the plot. The only weakness, and once again, don't want to spoiler alert here, once you find out who the bad guy is, why is it that every single time, or it seems to me like 95% of the books I read, if there's a bad guy, they're extreme. They're over the top. They're not believable. And I want you to think about, when you think about the bad guy, did this bad guy, him or her, seem extreme, over the top?
Yeah, but books aren't worth writing about unless they're extreme.
I don't know. I just think people are more that's true. I just think people are more complex than we give them credit for. They're not all good. They're not all bad.
Okay.
Which this person did have some good in him or her.
You're making a good point there. Because in my opinion, true life is more scary when someone seems sane, but they've got some evil that they're performing.
And I think that's why you're right.
So rather than being completely over the top crazy, if they've got some saneness and it's a little balance, that's what makes life scary.
Yes, because it could be the next Joe you meet on the street.
Yes.
Oh, they seem so normal, but there's something there.
Well, I don't have to worry about a character who's crazy over the top because people like that don't really exist. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they do, but it's very minuscule. So, yeah,
I guess you're right.
I see what you're saying.
Once the bad guy is revealed, and not just in this book, in many, it's like, really? Does that person really exist? Are there people that are really that crazy? And maybe there are. I mean, I guess watch Dateline or 48 Hour or whatever.
You know what? I think you make a very valid point. I think if they had made this person less over the top, but still as evil, it would have been a better ending.
I agree. Yeah. That's my only complaint. Just make the bad guy not quite so... I want it to be more believable.
Yeah.
It's like once...
Something that's why Stephen King is so... successful, because he writes stories about things that seem like they could be true.
Yes,
like they realistically could happen. I shouldn't say that.
Well, what I read that one of the formulas he uses that's made him so successful is he takes normal everyday things that we're all familiar with and turns it into something terrifying, like the clown in it. Something that kids used to love, clowns. He's made those into something terrifying.
Yeah, you said that better than I did. So it's not so much. It's more about taking things that we're familiar with
and making it terrifying
and making us not feel safe anymore with our assumptions of our surroundings. And
exactly.
Okay, can I just tell you the thing I didn't like about the book? I'm sorry. Okay, how convenient that Barrett is this good-looking, smart, athletic, loves to play the piano. I mean, that was just too convenient. I'm sorry.
It's funny you said that because the next book I'm going to ask you to read is called The Cousins. Oh, my goodness. Same exact deal, which there's a Okay, I can't tell you too much because you haven't read it yet, but I'm going to say the same exact thing. How convenient that the guy she's stuck with just happens to be this good-looking, charming... Well, he wasn't super charming.
I was thinking...
Yeah, how come they're never nerdy, big, tall, 7 foot skinny? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Nerdy, skinny, like, Dumbo ears.
Okay, I'm an orphan and I'm stuck in this big mansion. Oh, but wait.
There's more.
There's more. I mean, and I thought, okay, obviously this is written for teenage girls. Okay?
Yes.
And I'm not saying that someone else can't enjoy. I enjoyed the book. But I thought if you want to tailor make a book for teenage girls, this is it.
Well, and that is one of my complaints, and I know books wouldn't sell if all the guys were ugly, but one of my YA complaints is that the guy that they're always stuck with or thrown together with or always just happens to be this really good looking, good sense of humor, very good personality guy.
Their dream guy.
Yes, it's so convenient.
Yeah. And then I felt like that they just... Oh, this might be a spoiler. They just fell in love way too easily.
Oh, yeah.
It just happened so quickly.
And that's my other complaint. Not only is the guy who's always thrown into the mix just happen to be good looking and happen to have a good... They always, in the end up falling for the girl who happens to be... And usually the girls are self-described as plain or average.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bella in the Twilight series. Yes. She described herself as plain or average. But these good-looking guys, they always fall for these self-described plain or average girls.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that. We just had a twin moment because as I was listening to that book and with her voice and the way they described her as just being kind of average, I kept thinking of Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
So all through the book, I was picturing Kristen Stewart.
Okay. Well, but yeah, like I said, it's how you're not going to sell books if the girls are ugly and the guys are ugly and don't have good personalities and they never end up together.
Right. In books and movies, they have a formula and there's a reason.
Yeah, because the formulas work. All right, so this is an audio book, so we're not going to read any favorite passages or anything like that, but I do have a book rating. Of course, you could probably guess what it is.
Oh, I was going to try to think of that beforehand. I don't know. How many companions?
Yeah. Okay. I got real original this time.
Oh, that was hard. That was a hard one.
How many companions are you going to give this book?
I'm going to give it 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm giving it 3.5 just because of my complaints. I like the book. Yeah. And would you recommend it was my next question. I would recommend it, definitely young adults. Anybody who loves to read about the big Gothic houses and anybody who loves to try to guess, like,
who done it
who done
or
it.
who's doing it.
Yeah, who's doing it. Yeah, if you are the type of person that likes suspense and gothic novels and you want to try to figure out what's going on before it's revealed,
Yeah.
then yeah, I think it's a fun read.
And you know, I did enjoy the book. I want to be clear about that. But it did seem like it drug on at times. Like it was kind of lengthy. It seemed like it took me a long time to actually listen to the whole book.
I can't remember because it's been about a month since I've read it, but
I would listen to it while I was walking every night, and it just seemed like it took a while to get through it. But I'm not saying it was a waste of time, but like I think I would have enjoyed it when I was 18. Like I gave it a 4 because I think it's a 4 for young adults. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, for me personally, I would have given it a 3. But like if you're a young adult, I raise my rating up. Does that make sense? Because I feel like it's really geared toward young adults.
Yeah. Okay, well, I gave it 3 companions as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm with you. If I were a teenager reading this, I probably would have given it a 4.
Yeah.
And one thing that's interesting, because I always like to go on Goodreads and read all the reviews, so many. And I'm just making this assumption, I could be wrong, but I think the way that was worded and the way it was written, it seemed like it was young teenage girls writing a lot of these reviews. So many of them mentioned, oh, it's so scary, it's so creepy, I couldn't keep reading at night, I had to wait till daylight and pick it up in the morning. And I thought, I don't ever remember it getting
Okay, that's interesting.
creepy.
I'm glad you told me that because I kept thinking as I was reading it, it's obviously intended to be creepy, scary. I never did suspenseful, and I kept thinking, well, I know the author's doing a good job, but I'm personally past that. Those things don't. But I kept thinking, a young person reading this, yes, this would be very creepy and a little scary.
Okay, well,
So that makes sense
it
to me.
surprised me, but many of the, and it was girls, like I said, and I'm assuming they're teenagers, mentioned how creepy and scary and how they would have to quit reading at night and reading in the daylight. And I was like, what?
And you know what?
But maybe because they're younger.
And because they could put themselves in that situation because they're the same age as Margot, and they could see
That's
themselves in that
true.
setting thinking, ooh, what would I do?
And, you're right. That's a good point, Angie, because maybe they feel more vulnerable because they're teenagers, and maybe we feel a little more empowered because we're adults, and we'd be like,
I think they can relate.
yeah, maybe they
more.
can relate to the fear more of the young girls. Okay, so
Well, and I gotta say, if you're a young person and you're reading about that wreck and her losing her family, and the part that kind of startled me that the author said was, oh, I sure hate to give spoiler alerts, but this was just such an interesting part to me. Margot admits at some point in the book she has guilt because she thinks her mother was still alive and couldn't get out of her seatbelt.
I was going to say, the one part of the book to me that was the creepiest and affected me the most and made me think the most
was that
is she wakes up in the middle of the night and there's the word go written on her wall.
Yeah.
And we know it, we don't think it can be Agatha because she comatose. She can't even write. So that was very intriguing to me. How did the word go get written on her wall?
Because that's a little teaser to make our listeners want to listen.
But that part, once I found out the reason and how the word go got there and the story behind it, that was so gut-wrenching.
Yes, and I love that the author... she was able to bring a resolve. Okay, so Margot felt guilty because she feels like her mother was still alive when she escaped the vehicle that was being flooded. She couldn't get out of her seatbelt. But the author found a way to resolve that situation toward the end of the book. It was very clever. And how she resolved that whole issue so that Margot could have peace, because that actually it did give me some closure as a reader.
Okay, this is where my memory is horrible. So once this episode's over, are you able to tell me in a way that doesn't spoil it, or do we need to wait till we get through recording? I do remember feeling like, yes, everything was resolved. It was wrapped up in a nice little bow, and I was happy with the way it ended.
Let's just say she's able to get some confirmation that her mom's okay and at peace.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hit pause because I really need Angie to tell me and remind me. We're going to hit pause. Be back in just a second. All right, so Angie reminded me of the ending, and I forgot there is a little bit of a supernatural force at work. So if you're interested in these suspense books that involve a little bit of the supernatural, this will be right up your alley. So, in conclusion, um, we highly recommend The Companion, especially for probably young adult female readers. I think would enjoy it the most. So,
Yeah.
did you have anything else you wanted to add? Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening to us, and we'll see you next time on Twin
Twin Talk.
Talk.